When him say, currently no my coso ewo ye burkina. Amambro for neja. Some policies being implemented. Ewo ye burkina faso amambro for neja kra. Say adena. Will be beneath person implementing these policies now. Ebe haye. Montia se ometiko apire. Ebi asase e koso wa Senegal. Yes, of course, you heard me right. Senegal. Now you been able to enjoy today's conversation. You're packing the world. It's easy. I am common. But before, let's clarify this. BBC person didn't want Jane talk anymore. I don't know. What's I said, Trotro, no, maybe say Captain Ibrahim Traore in the videos are all and I say every babble tuning in an AI. I know what you should. Artificial intelligence. One moment I said, there's a computer and answer software be idea be abronia Anna Yasman say on ye. Into Kasano and Ibrahim Traore. These are some of the major topics that are arising from most of the big media houses. It will be as it is like says there. For the person using media not to attack him. Now the time is let me clarify and then say Captain Ibrahim Traore on camera for and yes on co school that Otimika name say all can or camera one kakra tinkomoni pa. Most of the videos no a French kasemuna wakano. Na se na be ma yenya ye doni ni bia ye di na chie. Ye hwe no ma oye with the kromu no se be hu de ro ya tena sinte no. They use AI to translate the French to English. And so when you are listening to him, what do you mean say the English you're very perfect. You know why? Because AI now translating kasana wakani in French directly to English. And on just say enye ono na kasa. Nipa do saying it French. Ewa Africa. Who could be more West Africa and I don't want to be more they can French. Apart from that, says Africa countries in the and so the message was said to me cut across the tree. And that is why or we are now on my English version I'm beauty and a BBC and then Ekika said the videos are not original. They are original videos and some now can and one or kind of French. Now send a be a menewo what you brought for Bettina Sintin and you're translating in directly by using an AI. And ye AI or no nebe kasama Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore na na kasa and ye kati AI and say the kasa na man nkobro fum. Asa. When you make these videos, don't sit down and say they are fake videos. They are not. Omo ye real videos. Name them kasa no. Obeti ase etinya ye ne sa no. Now, BNTC na nkomodim. One of the hard policies for an African country to implement and so obeka cha kwesi broni say wo mapam wo fini mi krom wo troops. Wo military troops o mama sa so no be fakọ. Here thing. Because I'm not for the sum ye fidie. Omo say wo sha ase wo pam wo mo troops o masrafo soldiers. A mo de mabegu asase so pe. No man say you want to cut ties with them. No matter say form one way. And no, and most of the African countries from Thomas Sankara time and in penifo bebre omotimi de money kum wo mo. Because the moment you say me mpem bi mu no, now wo masase ebo mo ho. To be able to on a life you make one free ho. Now the omo pay wo krom omatimi akoso enyantim. They will do that. A signal, a trap or massati. Up to now, look as a Ghana, we are still struggling. Say, Mrofo, or military troops away in SARS, both the British and the UK, a better more. I have a wisdom. I have a wisdom. And Canino, now is so severe to the essence, and never be a friend who could international airport. And Canino, a military base for the British, a hope than a Accra international airport, and a friend who could to what the military base can share power for the British. And the saddest thing is, if it's hammer something you be seen then Ghana and Brofo military base and that's what you chrome. So sad. We chrome. Everything that we are doing, young Cassia affairs, no me fire home, you punto, or many cheer we say. And you can see any British and American for any they don't have to worry to say, military troops need to be free or bans. One more mudoma be good ye kromuni enough. So say I'm missing shoe. Ebuja and they denya Senegal for almost last year, November, and almost Ibrahim Traore abra what bonus. So what pamo French troops ne free the group. Now one for the cry in a year. Almost share na bra bonus. Almost says so almost so pamo French troops war a yes and again. Ebuja na when a process ne cost no na French troops ne doing say a agrobi ana Senegal for AD. You know, now woman find semi serious. Hey, and ye wura 2025 yimu Ibrahim Traore, burkina faso, omo leader currently. Etimi ye famous when you are seeing in the chin. And no crown access Senegal for in crime. Say any mo ye the 2025 yimu beko. Me ne woka say, ya sisa wo mo French troops no e go play mu a ene on their way. Omu ko eye wo mu kromo. Enya asem ketwa. Enemrofo no wona se ade na ekoso yi. Ade na ekoso yi. Sisi okopie mo Central Africa. Chad. Ehwo me ne okase so enkomo ni bi asase ebobo efiri ho eba. Se wo mo so asase pese o mo ne mrofo cut ties. Kra. And you need the inseminachi. Other updates is arising from Cote d'Ivoire. And say yes, Cote d'Ivoire. And it will be a timia koso anoding pa. People are suspecting say military personnel be per se or mukosu kupu. And only update ebo papa the young to mainstream this. And the payana me say kafelado. I'm hearing video and I'm saying what? Sunny na yes, sunny to go see. And when you look at all these kind of things, you ask yourself, say, Adai. Omo kondo say, omo turning all the countries into autocratic state, nipa be brana. But the only mindset I wouldn't want to say, they be the sa, omo brabro funsa no the door. How can an African country have all these mineral resources, and yet omo ye poor? Look at Nigeria. And omo say Ghana cry your mabuchi. Ghana no aye brani your mabuchi. And we share sa no we nyina aye sad. And rofuni didi ye mudodo. Me no ka say Burkina Faso. Omo leader currently was had the same year babe to ya. I watch him say, any one say Africa for. And Rovudi ne be cat, near guasi, near we don't pay. Almost show more clothes na second hand clothes, don't be a banner. Or see there be. Or see, I was a yen ne was he did ne be car. Yet Yamabo.
It is not in Burkina Faso that they will come to give crumbs because they are hungry. It is not in Burkina Faso. We should no longer be seen as beggars. It is us who should give to others what we have not finished consuming. It is us who should do the right thing.
And when you think about this speech from Ibrahim Traore, this is why most of the people in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, Kasasa, Anoma, Thomas Sankara, almost we are Thomas Sankara and Yasa won baby as for frana. People are saying, say, Captain Ibrahim Traore says Africa for in Chino, or Thomas Sankara who ye in the year 1987 and Yasa won baby as CPU. And the main reason is everything that today Yeniaji about Captain Ibrahim Traore Burkina Faso so everything about him is everything about Thomas Sankara, the captain who died in the year 1987. Everything. About Africa. Now, according to Thomas Sankara, now one of the and can lead us when you say, or back 10 a year Burkina Faso. Now, Burkina Faso, et me abedani a crobia, say ye can't say a net, when we develop it, or my bomb homo day, or one chamber of Wasi Biwa, and can end Burkina Faso. That was his aim and ambition for the people of Burkina Faso. His era was the same time as J.J. Rawlings, and so any the coon were the name of Ghana in the 70s, in the late 70s, and the earlier 80s. So people track history of Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara, and compare it to that of J.J. Rawlings. And that is why Kawali Minoka say 3 days ago, Uko PMU Burkina Faso, Oma name a whole street after J.J. Rawlings. Almost a whole street after J.J. Rawlings.
Thomas Sankara's foundation have done their best to keep his legend alive, and we've always been happy to support. President Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings was certainly, my father was certainly a huge supporter of the foundation, and he was a very close friend of Thomas Sankara. So it means a lot to be here, and it means a lot that the whole of Africa was more or less here to support this momentous occasion. United we will rise, and divided we will fall. That's the way I look at it. I think now more than ever we have the opportunity to come together as a continent. Many have come before who have tried to accomplish this, but I feel that the atmosphere is perfect for that kind of unity. We see what is happening in the West, and for once I think we're in a position to look inward at ourselves and see how we can progress as a continent, not just, divided whereby everybody is doing something in their own little corner. And together I think we could be a force for good in this world. So I think let's streamline things, let's work towards a better future, and I think our leaders are on the precipice of making that happen. So I think we're in a good place, but certainly united.
The presence of Ghana here a big delegation from Ghana, as well as representatives of President Rawlings' family, myself and 2 of my siblings here on behalf of the family as well, is really a show of solidarity of what the history that our 2 countries have in common. But I think that beyond that, it's also an important milestone in that with the current geopolitics, it serves as a rallying point for many of the countries in the sub-region to perhaps take a moment to reflect on what it means to be African.
Sankara and President Rawlings were contemporaries. So, and they believed in the same kind of direction. They were 2 charismatic leaders in this part of the world. And then one of them got killed. So, well, President Rawlings carried on. So you can see that once you want to talk about Sankara, you have to look at him from that perspective, that these were 2 revolutionaries from this part of the world, you know, who were very close to each other, cooperated with each other. One got killed, one carried on and became, you know, a civilian president and all that. So that is Sankara for you.
Do you share Thomas Sankara? Some of the policies are man for air cancer. And no, Burkina Faso currently day, I friend Ibrahim Traore and the moon. Some of the policies were, or making sure, say, or before maybe be a friend Alliance of Sahel State. Send a bear and Ravona Casse because of a normal oil in Burkina Faso, much meaning in New Beam, or much mean 20 BBA, then bet me a trade with Africa, where especially between or no Mali and a Niger. There's any dread, you know, the country be also on pet crampoa. Mali and Niger, so between Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, they would trade among themselves. They would develop their countries together. They would never look onto a Yakosi Broni BMSO Messias. These were some of the policies of Thomas Sankara. And truly, Ibrahim Traore Awabe, Yawusa or the same thing, trying to connect Niger and Mali to Burkina Faso. Now we might be trading among themselves. Telling Yakosi Broni, Obetoye no more Metoye Yao. Jaye Betwaton Amayon. And another policy of Sankara man for Kase Ibrahim Traore Awabe Ankara and apart from some figures, data and figures be a better our numerology and so depicts that these things can be very, very true. You ever heard that aspect, you know, later. Burkina Faso for almost quite every day. ABC Thomas Sankara pencil. Now less than 3,000 kilometers. 80% of it. Thomas Sankara na yema. He made sure say basically 350 schools. Burkina Faso. And in fact, Thomas Sankara about forced marriage. See a teacher and Korane ma aqua wariemu. Onu de kotwemu e free Burkina Faso. Nya ono sabra no say who knows? Ebi enke da so chimma ware o by force. Enu ntimi kan wo he. Sa no mo we nyina mrofo ne hu say ekoso Burkina. But na inform who omo de omo tam free won ehia wo omo. And Thomas Sankara implementing all these policies helped the people of Burkina Faso, but yet in the year 1987. Now, another policy of Thomas Sankara to make sure, say, when it comes to literacy, say schools now was CSC one, 60% of people out of 100 have access to be literate. 60% of them. Thomas Sankara who knows when the people of Burkina Faso. Also, judges, wigs. Woman be can some media some call to our motion. What say we are Broni style. And yen culture. Uchemu and no the African way check at na court. And they who's a sound on my way in Ibrahim Traore did the same thing. Burkina Faso. And the people of Burkina are so proud of him. And when it comes to making sure, said the Burkina for him adopt adonwa, tomatoes, cotton, all the other things are omudria Burkina assassination. Obetime industrialize them, making sure say ebinum will be in cans and all these beautiful things. I who say air coso Burkina nenwa. He made sure say obefele the policies or the blueprint better was Burkina Faso. Some of these things he was never able to leave to make sure says I know my way etimi abem brofuni kumuno jajajajaja. And no anama Captain Ibrahim Traore within one Russia. The day because Odim said no maybe a already year Thomas Sankara some time ago. No. Some brofuya. So I'm making sure the people are trying to share. Because if Thomas Sankara was able to do all these things for the people of Burkina, near Kumunia, and yeah, any acrobat in the can ask them, whom am I? Whom am I? And the end to me, Enkume, Captain Ibrahim Traore. It is what done also. And Yasam Kitwa, Uko Piemu, and now let's look at the date, numerology. aspect of all these things. Thomas Sankara died in the month of October. But numerologists, no, most of the times, I'm on months and kasa, the day no ni yano. It's me day ni yano. On the 15th of a particular month in the year 1987, and you come Thomas Sankara. The numbers, the entire man for say Thomas Sankara reincarnation. Ibrahim Traore me do be bo era numerologist no o aspect om dia ba beto abonti we nyame na meka titi numbers ni oni mpanimfo 12 bi no mo ka no ho no mu bu burkina faso. A year later, exactly a year later, in the year 1988, and Captain Ibrahim Traore. 1 year later, 1 day difference in terms of the number. On the 14th of a particular month, that's what 1988, a year later, and Captain Ibrahim Traore currently. So when you compare these numbers, you see that one difference. Okay, now let's look at this also. Thomas Sankara died at the age of 37 years. 37 years. Then the asata wiase. And when the man the history book mu be seen. And oko PMU Burkina 3 days ago. And the creating museum amano. Said the value Kwame Nkrumah. Omonto fani ndiago. Almost a whole museum amano with a big statue. As I say, enye agro kra. Omuni nho agro ewa bakwasem. He died at the age of 37 at that peak of level of fame. So that peak of level of fame. And one and who Captain Ibrahim Traore say or angel. If you are seeing nothing, the same age. Is it that I'm referring him Sanome following numerology? So I'm person who come Captain Ibrahim Traore also at the age of 37 and are you following the story? I'm person who come also at the age of 37. And I said again and a course as I say history per se or repeating in the life of a year. This young man our turning hairs around and we assume when it comes to developing Burkina Faso. I'm person repeating history biana because normal. On the 15th of a particular month in the year 1987, Thomas Sankara, the panel and the policies, Anna Ibrahim Traore, Eshum Edibua, if we are seeing them quite often all boo and mino and come policies and them rofunso mumpesumbi. Yeah, dear, yeah, some fatal development. Then she babu krum, see a pair you macra, no more pamoye. And ye can deportation penance are possible near Pamubi, more pamoye. Ye, dear, we so amusisi. Ye ba musi crummy a piece. Nancy ye tea on who ye piece said you no. What told him one drunk came a mukro. Ye, dear, some the same 37 years of age and a cowardly Captain Ibrahim Traore, dear. The dear Satavia singer. Numerology and I explain. Most of the African countries currently, youth no. Obehuno comment section as now man for that be BBC Ghana. Oh, a coming couldn't be a Nigeria. No visual trop. Any how I will be wishing or Cameroon and Yasam Ketwa. The youth are so hungry. A cow monk could take over the state. Most of the countries I war a Africa. What you said, Dieng, and I'm a youth. And they didn't cook ne who is a bonnet. They think say the only hope I beat me at Africa. What are the leaders not doing right? And if said travel to me normal way in our right, a prayer won't depend on any foreign aid. What is wrong with Ghana? What is wrong with Ghana? So I don't doubt war a Nigeria, Cameroon, other countries. Our money cry for couple and penny for the abroad. We can use our resources, do things for any country. So currently, we could PMU and we're Senegal. Summer and if we have a banner. One year country, a coup and a deal almost you. Then so no, almost to say, among pet French troops and we move chromo beam. Sabram no can say French a jack. This is a French. Oh, Kataki Burkina. And I say both on the air again. Then about who see the best be a message was on our next video when you can about detail and so actual. Sam George, a man for Corona currently on the internet. And yes, I'm Ketwa. A day. At the end of Sam George, I hear that is one of this video. Bebo on the Baba Sumunia Kinie, Minubidding Gram. The Mammy Cow say Uko PMU Ewo UK. One beautiful thing at Ebe Coswom. A Santaman progressive, Nananum progressive for more UK. Omutimidi afacha emu odro na nansia abeka asante ni kopie mu UK no kodi na kwasi de no obeka na nanum progressive kopie mu okoye adoye emu odro na ebi ka konfo anoche no wo say in cooperation with Asanteman Coventry na nanum omo beye akwasi da no odin ewo wo kopie mu UK Coventry Central Methodist Church Great Wall this time also get a great war because the expectations na nanu mo beba be todwa e wo dwumadi na se obutie die bebre ze de wuro screen so no I ho be ye de so free eastern o free western o free central region upper east upper west wo de hia ne se wo culture well no eno an ye custom fabra ne be pim wo Coventry hima ebe utata na nanu mo represent Coventry e na ageni Boaten dwaben ya won kroma ha wo mo ana ye jase hene ne asanteman e ma hene e wo eye UK Coventry womu na de sa no ma we ehhehye so and Coventry ma himo no to simu de den eye nana ya anya ko wo betena se na ene wagye ahofo wo mo banyina no fes mesi hu na nim ne sidi ekura no wa hwe a wankasa they say ene oyi wani ahofe no mesi e bro so sa na me pe a kye wo ana eye nana oben ampane a wo ye otumfo sikekua kontihene wono nso ebeba dwumadie no ase bi nana kwabere jan Asanteman Coventry chiame wono nso ewo dwumadie no ase bi nana adwoa emu Asanteman Coventry kontihima wono nso ewo dwumadie no enso ase bi because me bobodi no a enye asem keto won se me nduru kinzoro mpo ha wo mo de wo mo nso de wo mo ni mo nyamba bebu acha mo nsa sikafo opiem wo ho ti we ni nana mo be di dwumadie no mo chiame ankasa on the 25th of this month from 2 p.m. Equals 7 p.m. na dwumadie no enso ekoso bibia ekoso kama se wo mesia wan gaza be won se wa hwrade because eni gi a ebe bagura ho no enya 7 to here na wo free Bono East, Ahafo, Western, Central, Northern, baby afri bia no ko na ko represent Ghana culture no e wo akwasi there in Coventry ebe cost 25th Sunday and the besie na magimoni from 2 p.m. akopie and so 7 p.m. abochi dey stress nko a wan ko bia you miss a lot unim baby abehia aboafo so bomodin twa we take it tour for numbers na e wo eye wo screen so no na friend na no
K1 oh boy Juma we dey Jacob so now see commentary or social media no style of blogging fantastic so now see commentary news in the bar so now see commentary for home so good keep on going
and the style also the ebema other tribe follow uni sorted India temni that's how becano it's so painful I know shit I don't know say commentary like or you as a presenter sports presenter that they are and we need maybe our question free but it's all good. We are the K1 modern K1 will try pa